Hello everyone, welcome back, and this is Naveen from UiBrains. Last class we have actually discussed about um, how to make the routing, right? So we already tested the routing with a basic response, and now let's actually start with the logic. Okay. So first, what we do is we start with user router. So here we have taken register a user and with all the form fields. So let's start the registration process. Okay, before I proceed with the registration process, let me check the validation for the form fields. So I'll just import something from Express validator. So we already seen how to validate the form fields in Express.js. So same story here. I need a body and validation result. Okay, so in this parameter, let's specify the things. Let's say body, and I'm just checking for the name parameter. So name dot not is empty. So if the name should not be empty. If that name is empty, you get the message. You get the message stating that uh, name is required. Okay, and one more email. So let's take email, and one more is password. Okay, so let's say email is required and the password is required. So I just apply only required feature. So fine. So if any validation fails, you get the result. Let's uh, errors is equal to validation result of request. You get the result of your validation, and let me check if not errors dot is empty. So if errors is not empty, if errors is not empty, you have a errors inside, right? So you can just say response. You can just write like this: return response dot status of 400 bad request dot json, and I'll be providing it like this: an object where errors will be, let's say, errors dot array. So it will print all the errors. Okay, fine. So if you register, you must provide these values. I mean, you must provide these parameters. If you're not providing these parameters, you will be getting the error from the backend. So let me test this out at least if why it is not like this. So let me open Insomnia. Not there. Let me open the Insomnia app. Put as the backend API. Okay, and meanwhile I open the MongoDB Compass to test the backend database. So let's wait for Insomnia. I think it is, yeah, it's opening. So let's test it. Okay, so if you provide a form data or without providing form data, so how it works, and then we'll make a registration process. Okay, so come on, dude. We should open this earlier, right? Come on. Okay, so it is open, and which you have to test is register a user. So for register a user, if without providing any form data, for example, JSON, right? So without providing any form data, when I click on send, what happened? So you get all the errors. Super. This is what validation we have done just now. So name is required, email is required, and password is required. So this is what you're getting. And if you provide a name and all, let's say name, let's say Rajan, uh, and let's say email. Email is Rajan at gmail.com, and password, I made a mistake. Email should surround with double quotes because the JSON string. Password just say Rajan123. Okay, so when I click on send, registration, yes, perfect. Okay, so this is done. Once this is done, validation, you get the form data. So once you receive the form data, you need to write the actual registration logic. So you here to make the registration, before that you need to test for various functionality. So what type of functionality you're going to test is, first before you register, what if I'm already registered with the same email ID? So what you do is you can say check if the email is exists or not. So already the email is exists or not. If not exists, you create. If exists, don't create. Okay, that's one thing. And also you want to, okay, if email not exists, you want to register. So you want to register, you actually get the plain password like this, right? Um, you are providing a plain password, but I don't want to save the plain password as it is. Let's encrypt the password. So encryption, just say encrypt the password. So encrypt the password required. I also need, so get avatar URL for email, and then you register the user. Okay, fine. These checks you have to be verify when you register a user. But thing is, before you check email existing database, but we have not done any database configuration. So generally, you never do any database configuration through backend database. It means you know you must not go to database and do some database configuration. So all this database, I mean your database, your tables, everything can be configured from programming itself. So from Express.js itself, you can configure everything. Okay. So how you gonna configure them is, um, let's start here. So first of all, let's make the table structure. I think here the router is done. Okay, let's create another one, new directory, the same models, the backend models. So in this, I create one TypeScript file. Let's say I user. Okay, the user, and create it. So let's import first mongoose from mongoose, and I need something called document from there. So document represents your table. Okay. So what I say is, let's represent the table and then create schema for that. Okay. So my table looks like this. You can just say export interface I user. Okay, and which extends from document. So when you write an interface extends from document, so it will be treated as a MongoDB document. Okay. So in this, what you have, underscore ID is an optional string. So this underscore ID indicates the database. I mean, this each row's ID, unique ID, and this is optional for us, because when you create a user, this you won't provide, right? This will come from backend. So let's create optional as. Okay, and what else you have? Name is there, string. Email is there, string, and password you have to provide string, and then avatar is string, and then is admin boolean. Okay, what else? Yeah, one more, created at, it is optional of string only. Next, updated at, optional is string. Okay, so this represents my users table. Once it is done, you need to configure the schema. Schema means the rules. So each field, what are the what conditions you need to mention. So in this models, I create another TypeScript. Just say user. Okay, just a user. Okay, or just a user table you take. It not looks good table. Okay, this is a user. Okay, here I say import mongoose from mongoose. Okay, so in this I need few things. One is schema and one is model. Okay, so now let's create a schema. So let's use a schema of type schema is equal to new mongoose dot schema. Okay, new mongoose.schema. Yeah, in this you must provide the definition of your schema. I mean each field, what type of data. So first thing is ID don't mention because this comes automatic. So let's say the name parameter. I mean name will be type capital string, capital string. This is capital string is MongoDB type. Okay, comma required is true. Yeah, it's a required field. Okay, let's say true. And let's say another one, email. So email also string and true. And you also make one more thing called unique. Unique also true. Yeah, why I'm saying unique is because in my entire database, email ID should be unique. So it means though not two users should have same email ID. Okay, and the password of type string, and also it's required is true. Okay, next what we do is mm, email password. Let's make multiple fields the same way. Password avatar string only. mm, is admin of type boolean. It's not required value. You can give some default value false. So is admin, actually when the time you registered you won't become an admin. Through backend you can make it as an admin. Okay, so default value will just take false. Okay, I think that's it. Create and update it. Yeah, that thing will come automatic. So if you give an option called timestamp, timestamps true. So when you mention the timestamps option, so then uh, it will make an extra fields for create and update. So it will maintain, it will track. So when the table got created and updated. Okay, so once you make a schema, so let's take user is equal to um, mongoose dot model. So in this, what is the table name is user and your user schema. Okay, and this user is of belongs to something is a model of type a user. Okay, then okay, one second, some problem. It says mongoose dot lowercase model, I guess. Model, yes, perfect. And just say export default user. So this user indicates your user's table. Okay, so you mentioned the complete schema over there, and that's all. Fine. So we made with the table structure for users, and we also make a table structure for posts. Sorry, for event, and then we'll start with actual routing functionality. So let's make the another table structure and schema in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll meet in the next video.